This is episode 179 of Zen and the Art of Real Estate Investing with my guest, Blake Dailey. Blake started with a single Airbnb over 5 years ago, scaled that business out, 30 employees, 150 short-term rental units, but now his thing is boutique hotels. He just finished the Boutique Hotel Con, a conference based on that. Blake, welcome to the show.
Jonathan, thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
I did my back research and your journey is interesting. You've tried a lot in real estate investing since getting out of the military. Am I right?
Well, actually, it was while I was in the military. So I just separated like 4.5 months ago. And
wow. So you started while you were in.
Yeah, all this has been since I was active duty. It's really just been the last few months. My contract was up, my commitment was up. I was like, all right, full-time real estate. But yeah, we started doing wholesaling. Really was like the first thing was like direct to seller leads, negotiating those deals and finding ways to build capital to do more buy and hold. Yeah. The flip mixed in there, a whole lot of burrs, a whole tail. Yeah. We've done a little bit of everything, cut our teeth early.
Yeah. And I mean, I've definitely had former military on the show and they're always interested while they're in, but not a lot of get to, I guess, even the beginning of scale, just because it's busy. How are you able to get going while you're, on duty, deployed, or things like that?
Yeah. From the very beginning, it was just like a prioritization of like, this was the long-term plan that we knew that we wanted to go down.
Yeah.
Right. Buy real estate, build up the cash flow over time, and then get to a point where at the end of my commitment, at the end of 5 years, that I'd have enough cash flow to be able to separate if I wanted to. And that happened in like a year. So then I was like, wow. Oh shoot, we're doing pretty good. We just had like, when I say me, it's like me and my wife. I feel like a team of us. And so when we were doing that, we kind of just had our head down grinding. And then over that like first year, the net cash flow exceeded that. So I was like, oh man, I got to put even more attention in this. But really like it was that shift to commercial after that time that allowed me to then build the team, kind of elevate in my own business and do less of the doing. Not that I don't still like work my butt off and probably do too much that I shouldn't be doing. But it became more of a, like, how do I outsource certain things? How do I build the team? How do I kind of reinvest in the business so that I can still use my available time, mornings, lunch breaks, and evenings and weekends to build this thing out. And then just, when you extrapolate that over 5 years, you can actually do something with it.
I mean, obviously you brought up something important for military personnel. It's that VA loan, and that opportunity is there for real estate. It doesn't apply to other things. So to have that opportunity,
1 to 4 units, and you can use it more than once.
Like you get a full benefit. Yeah. So if you choose your areas wisely, you can be putting 2-3 properties on the VA loan as you grow, right?
Yep. That's exactly what we did. We bought 2 in my first duty station, 12 months apart. First one, 0% down, 2 units. that was our first house. We cash flowed to live there for free. The next one, we rented out the other unit that we lived in, plus it was another 2-unit purchase. So we essentially got 3 rental units, now 4 because we don't live there anymore, for 0% down. And it's like incredibly powerful tool for those in the military. I would think that my advice would be that everybody in the military needs to buy a house with their VA loan and
for sure
buy a 1 to 4 unit with 0 down, rent out the other units, pay off the mortgage. And some of the best deals that I've heard about have been like, Navy guys or like Army guys that are stationed in like San Diego or Hawaii, and they're buying whatever $800 million house for 0% down. And they're qualifying because of the extra units. They'll use whatever it is, 75% of the projected rental income. And then those markets, appreciate like crazy. So a lot of those have doubled in value. These military folks have made $1 million in equity. They became millionaires through a 0 down buy and hold property.
When I used to think of the words boutique hotel, maybe 10 years ago, I thought of it as more like just like a nicer small hotel. That's not really what we're talking about, because as you were describing it, of removing the extra unit or turning it into 2, it's really operating more like a short-term rental principle inside a hotel than I guess a fancier independent hotel. Am I right on that?
I think it depends on the size and the strategy with the hotel. So the smaller ones, like 10, 15, 20 units, I think are definitely more of a hybrid between, STRs and hotels. And it's cool because you get the benefits of both, right? Like you get the appeal, the ease of booking, and all that from the STR space, but then you have the quality and the standards if you're running it right.
Right.
And with these bigger property sizes, like the amenities, right? You might have a weight room, pool, hot tub, different things for your guests. So you kind of combine the strengths of both STRs and hotels. So those operate as like your little bit of a hybrid, and people will book from Airbnb, they'll book
Right.
from booking.com plus, Expedia and the other hotel sources. Now on the bigger size, like our 130 unit in Tennessee, we're mostly direct. And then most people come from Expedia, like
Yeah.
hotels.com, booking.com, and Airbnb is only like 5 or 6%.
That makes sense.
There we have staff. We have expectations of our guests who are staying there. It just looks and feels much more like a hotel, but you have those two different operational plans. They integrate very well together. Like the foundation of how you operate them is the same. So that's kind of like the difference between the two.
That makes a
From
lot of sense though, because operationally 20 units and under, you don't need the staff. You're probably adding more amenities to the package that was there and reducing the staff on that. Whereas you
exactly.
still need a pretty solid staff. You're running 130 units, you're going to be doing changeovers. They just may not be as regular as before.
Yep, exactly. That's your big difference. And then as like the whole or for the whole like definition of what is a boutique hotel, like the three things I look at or kind of wrap into this definition are small, unique, and independent.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's an independent hotel, not operated under a flag brand like a Comfort Inn and Suites or a Staybridge Suites or whatever. Like it's an independent hotel, its own name, its own brand.
Mom and
Small,
pop.
typically, yeah, mom and pop, baby.
Yeah.
And then it's smaller, typically 50 units or less. I mean, we're kind of stretching the definition with our 130 unit, but it's very boutique Like we're
Yeah.
renovating it. It's 8 different buildings spread out. So like they're going to have their own design plans, bunch of amenities. So it'll still have that boutique flair. It's just much bigger. Um, Small, independent, and unique. So like the unique is the design, like you said, a nicer hotel, like better amenities, more impressed by the design. A lot of it's like, will kind of integrate with the location and where it's at. And they're typically in like trendy submarkets in their areas. So that is kind of what fits in a hotel. So it's not your, off the highway or downtown, high rise type hotel. It's not your flag hotels. It's kind of its own thing, which makes it fun, right? Like that's where the creativity comes in.
So tell me about Boutique Hotel Mastermind. That's something that people can join and learn more about doing this if they obviously need a decent amount of capital to get into the game. But of course, a lot of people are finding partners through masterminds that
Yeah.
become lifelong business partners.
Yeah. I think it's such a big part of it. And going back to kind of like the puzzle analogy is like, how do you find, you want to do this thing. You've got this big vision for buying boutique hotels, getting into the commercial space, getting, more profit per deal, more efficient, because maybe your STR portfolio is taking a lot of your time. You're like, dude, I just need like 10 or 20 more units and I could hire all the people I need. I mean, you get there with hotels and it's like masterminds, I think, provide that the different, like allows you to connect the dots in different ways. Partners, one idea that you're like, oh yeah, I need to go implement that. And then you do it and you grow your business or, the right people and ideas and thought sharing that allow you to scale so much faster and just learn, right? Like you get the repetitions that we're talking about earlier through other people. You don't have to go through the learning mistake and lose all the money. And that was really like my inspiration to start it from the beginning, but because I definitely paid my ignorance tax, right? Like probably hundreds of thousands of dollars at this point of just stuff I didn't know. Cause there was like, think back on 4 years ago, what could you even find on boutique hotels, right? There's
Yeah.
really nothing. It was like what you thought of them earlier. It's just maybe like in smaller, upscale independent hotels. So it's really, the niche has really evolved. More people are looking to get into it. More STR investors that are scaling out of STRs
Yeah.
because they've reached this, cap of what they can do or don't want to scale by buying house after house after house after house. So it's like, has been about building this community to support each other and provide those lessons and like all the systems that I use in my business is part of that as well. So it's like you have the framework from day one and you don't have to learn from scratch or recreate the wheel. And that's what I think has been like what I've seen be the biggest impact is people get around the right people and have the guidance and the resources that they need. They just go so much faster. Like it's like the bumpers on a bowling lane for them. They're just like going
Yeah.
100 mile an hour at the pins and don't mind if they, bounce the bumper a little bit. Cause like, here you go. I'm back in.
Right.
Bump
And they're
back in.
like, oh,
You got
wait,
this.
that was easy. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Right.
mean, it was the first deal. And they're like, dang, man, we're going to go buy 2 more now. It's like, let's do it.